Good day. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Gary Maples, and I am 65 years old. I was born in September the 7th of 1940. I currently live in Vermont, and I'm here today with my brother, my oldest brother, my big brother, who is 13 years older than I am?
Yes.
And when were you born, nephew?
I was born May 30th, 1928.
And what we're going to talk about today is a family story, and it's a story about basketball, and it's a story about the joy and love of the competition and basketball, and it's also a story about a family's involvement in their life with the background of World War II. And my brother was, you understand, when this all happened, or started to happen, I was 4 years old. And my brother was, at the point we're going to start, he was a junior in high school in Suffield.
West Suffield, Connecticut.
West Suffield, Connecticut. And our father was a major at that point in the chaplain corps at Bradley Field in Connecticut.
Right.
And so my brother came to school in Connecticut from a school on Long Island. And at that point, now, you did not play basketball in New York.
No.
And you started basketball when you came to Suffield.
Right.
And at what point did you go out for the team?
Well, when the season started, the practice session started for the season. And I would assume now, I don't know the exact month, but I would assume it was October.
In October, but at this point, now you're a junior.
I'm a junior, yes.
In high school. And so at this point, you really had not played competitive basketball.
No.
All right, and then you started, and the team progressed. Now, this is your junior year, and the team progressed, and you had what kind of a record in the high school?
Well, in Connecticut at that time, why, you had to win half of your conference games to be eligible for the state tournament. And we were the last team to get in. So we had to win half of our conference games, and the last game of the season got us in the tournament.
And how many teams then qualified for the state championship
22
tournament?
teams qualified that year.
Okay, and so then at this point, you then started the competition for the state championship, and you made it through...
We went to the quarterfinals and got beat by Ellsworth.
Okay, now in the first game out, you played what, the second-seeded team?
We played the second-seeded team. I think it was Saybrook.
And
we beat them bad.
Okay.
They were shocked.
And then you go then for the the next game was the quarterfinals?
No, that'd be this. It took it down from 22 teams to 11, and then I think they gave a bye to the top-seeded team.
Right.
And then it was played again, and that brought it down to 5.
Okay, so you won 2 games then in the
Yes,
state tournament?
right.
And then on the third game, which would be the quarterfinals,
Right.
you
Lost to Ellsworth.
You lost to Ellsworth
by 2 points.
by 2 points. All right, so now, and you had a team of all juniors.
All juniors.
Everybody was coming back.
Yes.
And everybody was thrilled and excited because they knew a state championship was on the line.
Well, they thought so.
And so then, in your junior year here now, you had you went to Boys State.
Yes.
You were 2 votes short of being elected president of Boys State.
Right.
And you were
governor.
Governor of
Governor
Boys
of
State.
Boys State.
In Connecticut, right here.
Yes, sir.
We're in Hartford today,
I was
so
in
this is home right there for that.
In the state capitol.
Okay, and then you then were class president?
Yes.
And then you would have been captain of the basketball team your senior year?
Yes.
Okay, so now tell me exactly how it happened that you found out that you weren't going to be in Connecticut for your senior year.
Well, my daddy came home and said, I've been transferred to Chatham Field, Georgia.
And we were moving.
And we were moving. That's
and that
right.
was it.
That was it.
Okay, now you're telling me that your basketball coach, the superintendent, came over and visited with Daddy and pleaded and begged. We'll put them up. We'll feed them. We'll clothe them. We want to be state champions. You can't let the best player we got go. No.
Well, that's correct.
Okay.
And of course, I guess he talked it over with Mother, and I don't know, I didn't participate in the conversation, or I do not recall having done that. And so her judgment was that she could not afford to be without me, because I was the oldest of 6 children.
There were 6 children, and then Daddy in the military and the war was gone all the time.
Yes.
And so she just didn't feel that she could get along without it. And their attitude was it was just basketball.
Yes.
It wasn't life and death.
No.
And
family came first.
Right. But you never dreamed that where you were moving there was no basketball. You never heard.
Well,
you never thought that.
I had no idea to think that. Where we went was at Chatham. He was stationed at Chatham Field.
This is
in
Chatham
Georgia.
Field, Georgia,
outside of Savannah. He went on down to the duty station, and of course Mother packed up and got everything loaded to move, and then he came back and drove us down there.
And then you drove just like a couple of days before school was supposed to start.
Yeah, we got there, I think, 2 days or 3 days before school was to start.
And all the family, all the kids, there were 6 kids.
Right.
And you were driving them, and was Daddy with
No,
you?
Daddy was driving.
He was driving. So
Yeah.
the whole family, 6
Yes.
kids, mother, father, all headed for Georgia.
Right.
Okay, and then at this point, you had no idea there was no such thing as basketball.
No, I
You
had
just
no idea
assumed.
what kind of a school I was going to be in.
Right.
And so when we get there, why, it turns out that the house he found was the manse for a little Presbyterian church that was founded in 1870, and it was located on Henry Ford's plantation. Henry Ford owned 90,000 acres. And he had, it was like a benevolent dictatorship. There was 3 subdivisions, and he had built them all, and everybody that lived there worked for Ford, either in his research deal or in his logging operation, or whatever he had going on. Everybody that lived on the plantation.
And my memories of that house, and this is right next to the church, and the church is extremely small.
Yeah, it held about 18 people.
Okay. And the house was next to it was sort of a mansion. I mean, it was a big place.
Yeah, they built that to be the place for the preacher to live and to have church activities. So we had a very large front room, so to speak, and then the bedrooms were on the side of that room, and the kitchen was in the rear of that room.
And a memorable event for that move for me, and I think I'm 5. I'm 5 in September of this is 1945.
Yes.
Okay, and I just turned 5, and a memory is that when we got there that night, the next morning, they had buried somebody in the cemetery, and because this is so close to the ocean, you have to be careful doing that, and they messed up and buried it too close to the tide coming in, and the coffin was on the ground in the morning. And anyway, so we're now in Georgia, and you had a high-profile program of basketball, and you go to school your first day, and what happens?
Well, you know, we've done this a lot of times over the years. I went to 13 schools going through the first 12 years. And so we just go up there to register, to get enrolled.
And then when you find out there was no basketball?
Well, I don't think I found out the first day. I think it came a little bit later when I got to talking with the members of the class and the teachers. And I guess I asked the question, you know, well, what kind of sports program do you have? And they said, well, we don't have a coach and we don't have any interscholastic competition of any kind.
And were you decimated with this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know, you just accept things.
Yeah. And well, you came back home and told.
Yeah, I came back and said, well, I'm not going to get to play any basketball this year. They don't have such a thing.